Yes, so coming up, the next segment is very important and very special. It's a panel discussion, everybody. So please put your hands together as I welcome the moderator, our very own original leader, Mr. Nainar Ramaswamy, CEO of Beacon, everybody. With a big round of applause, let's welcome the gentleman on the stage. We also have some of the brightest minds will be joining this panel. It's going to be really exciting. So welcome back, sir.
Cool. Thank you, Chandani, for starting the session and bringing the energy back. I'm looking forward to having a very, very interesting panel discussion today. We've got some eminent personalities. The first panelist is an entrepreneur who started a manufacturing company many, many years back. When startup itself, the notion of startup itself was not even there. From a small factory and one license of SOLIDWORKS. Today, he's got 3 factories that are running manufacturing components. He's working on the 4th factory, and his company supplies critical assemblies and parts for Airbus, for Boeing, and his company supplies actuators, wing components, and landing gears, the critical components of the aerospace industry. His company supplies. He's also currently in the process of setting up a semiconductor etching equipment, which is a greenfield project. Please welcome Mr. Umesh, co-founder and director of CIM Tools Pvt. Thank you so much for being one of the panel, Umesh. He has over 2 decades of experience in valve design, specialization in linear and rotary valves, and technology implementation in data management, automation, and other such technology initiatives in a large company called Bray Controls, a company with operations in 40+ countries. So please welcome Mr. Mathew, Varghese, VP of Engineering, Bray Technology Center in India. Thank you, Mathew, for being part of the panel. To complete the panel, we have our next technopreneur, who's a technology leader. Today, when we say that startup, it is normally in the area of software, food delivery, and in that space. So his company, startup, is building micro turbines using hydrogen fuel for static power generation and all of that. He has many years of experience in propulsion systems, combustion engineering. He has done his master's from UK. And his startup, Hycosys, is building the micro turbines for static power generation. Please welcome Mr. Ugandhar Reddy, co-founder and CTO of Hycosys Pvt. Thank you, Ugandhar, for being part of the panel. The panel and taking time off to come and share your story and give your thoughts on different technology initiatives that we're talking about. So all of you have been associated with SOLIDWORKS in some form or the other over a period of time. So let me start with you, Umesh. You started off in a very, very small scale from India to having built a large organization which is a supplier for some of the critical components for aircraft industries. So can you tell a little bit, some data points on your association with SolidWorks and Beacon as a partner. How, what role both these organizations play in your growth?
This was back in 1997 when we started the activity. Most of the starts up in a mad way. It's only the height of the madness varies from organization to organization. A similar story we also had when I came to Bangalore. It was very less as usual, and I think after engineering for quite some time I was not having anything interesting, but the carving for the craving was so much that I wanted to do something in manufacturing. I think when the craving becomes a sincere craving escalates, the society will open some or the other door. That's my observation. So, like that, KSFC called us and gave us an opportunity in those days without any collateral, without any commitment, 70 lakhs loan sanctioned. Then today also. So that's how it started. But after coming to this one, we came to know what are the gaps, the skill gaps that we are having. That's where I came in touch with Adi Anand. He's a good friend of mine. We were going to the similar training session for the modeling and programming. So there we started. That's how we started. And after that, that triggered a lot many things. That opened up a lot many opportunities. So we could able to bridge many things in that path. So first one thing is we went to, after starting that one, went to HAL, knowing that they are importing a lot of parts. So went to HAL, but nobody was there to give anything ready. So they only gave a long register where so many parts and assemblies are being imported from France in those days, which cannot be done in India. So that was quite challenging. But it took 1 month for me to talk to GM of the helicopter division because nobody was allowed to look into those registers. So that was one thing. After working for a few days, then one day we went to Airbus strike, knocked the door of the Airbus Hilton, asked them, we are having a factory, can you give us some work for us? Are you mad or what? You know what's the qualification to become an Airbus Tier 1? You have to tell me. It requires 100 million turnover, presence in all major geographies of the globe. Where are you? So that's how it started. These are the madness we went on, but we had a good backup from Beacon on the SolidWorks front, and we had a lot many support at various stages. Even now we are having a good interaction. We are getting into a complete ELMIA ERP solutions. Let us see where it takes. That's my part.
Thank you, Umesh. Yes, having done the startup earlier in 2013, I do understand that it is madness, but I did in software. So I take I fall in that case. So Mathew, you have a different experience. You've been associated with SolidWorks also for the last 20 plus years, but you have been part of a large organization. So the challenges and the kind of issues that you would have faced could be very, very different. So can you elaborate a little bit more on what SolidWorks played and what Beacon played in your career so far?
Yeah, we started in 2005. We are into the valve industry. So this industry is slightly different from automobile or aerospace. That the valve assemblies as such is not very complicated. It has probably 5 to 10 components per design. Okay, but we have more variants. We have, so as of now, Bray has 100,000 saleable product assemblies, bombs. That's the kind of thing. But each assembly, if you see, it's only 5 or 10 components. And then you get a lot of material variants. You can have the same design with different materials. You can produce in carbon steel, stainless steel, duplex, super duplex. So you have, the standards itself are written like that. So that complication comes on to the CAD and PDM also. Because some of these CAD and PDM are built for seeing the big industries, right? Where we have large assemblies, where we don't have material variants. So we have to customize it, right? For our industry, we have to customize it. And that's where SolidWorks helps. We found the biggest advantage in SolidWorks in that sense that you can really customize things. It has this API module within SolidWorks and PDM. You can use it. Even the database is kind of an open architecture. Currently, we know, so over the years, we have studied the system. We know each and every table inside the PDM system. How the data is stored. When you save a bomb, what happens in which table. We have studied all that. So when you get to that level, you can really automate things. And that's when, so we implemented PDM. We have now 10 servers across the globe. So we have people sitting at 10 sites and creating designs, and then probably 30 manufacturing sites, manufacturing different products. So there is all access permissions set up in the system. Different sites have different permission levels. It's all controlled by engineering. Even the automation is actually done by engineers. We don't have IT working on any of our engineering projects. It's all done by mechanical engineers that explains the user friendliness of the tool. So, because of all this, we are able to grow very fast. We keep hiring people. They don't need any special training. The tools are very user friendly. We hardly give them 1 week, 2 weeks, and put straight on projects.
Yeah, that's, the takeaway is that SolidWorks is the first company, software company, to give APIs for free.
Yeah,
at that time.
That's a big advantage.
So for all of you who are not aware, it was the first CAD company to give APIs for free. Even today, it is for free. Anyone wants to build applications on top of SolidWorks, you can definitely do that. In '97, I was writing software on top of SolidWorks. It was DesignWorks. So some of the APIs, even if I see that today, they're still active. Because the underlying technology is very, very relevant even today. So it's very important to know that power of API, how a manufacturing company, by investing a little bit of their talent on programming, how much the return on investment that you can potentially get is huge. To add to what, Mathew, what you're saying, in fact, for one of our customers, we built a BI dashboard, reading data from the same PDM database. But we are programmers, right?
We do the same.
Yeah.
Mechanical engineers do the same. So it's so one more point to add. I think I've seen many companies. I don't know if it happens now, but many years back, companies buy PLM. They can't implement it. They just use it as a PDM, right? So we decided to buy PDM, and with all this automation, we built a layer on top of PDM. And it's almost like a PLM. We have built in PLM features on SolidWorks PDM, the base PDM version. And if you know where the database is, what the database structure, know a little bit of Visual Basic, that's all you need. You can create a PLM of your own. If you are in that size. If you are a bigger company, then go for PLM.
That's a fantastic advice, Mathew, for the people who are looking at data management. The other takeaway I hear from you is that having a data management solution as a backbone is a key thing for your organization's success.
Yeah, absolutely. Without that, you can't function, especially in an enterprise setup where you have multiple manufacturing locations, multiple engineering units. PDM is the base necessity. You can't run a business without, or you are going to lose a lot of money because of the mess created by not properly managing our files, right? So it's a small investment compared to what you can save.
And in fact, in morning, in keynote presentation, I talked about, we did a survey of all our customers. 70% of our customers still manage their data in their local computers. The shared folders, network folders, that's how they manage their data. This is the message we have been telling them, that you need to have a data management solution if you want to help you grow as we go faster. So Ugandhar, you are in deep tech, and your association with Beacon is only in the recent past, and SolidWorks also in the recent past. You are totally in conversion technology and all of propulsion engineering, all of those things. So how did you transition from being a propulsion engineer to work on component design for this kind of a startup that you're doing?
Yeah, so I'm still doing propulsion engineering right now, though I'm managing the technology side, all the aspects of the technology right now. So earlier I was working on larger gas turbines, basically the commercial aircraft engines. Now I'm building smaller gas turbines. So in terms of being a propulsion engineer, I think that's always has been my passion. And the reason I started this company along with my co-founder was to kind of continue on that path. My association with SolidWorks, my first time I used SolidWorks was back when I was in UK, 4 to 5 years back. Prior to that, I was in a large MNC and we had our own software that we used there. I actually liked SolidWorks a lot because I was doing hands-on work at that point of time. So when I came back to India and started the company, I was looking for some software that would help us accelerate our journey. And having myself seen how SolidWorks platform is, we felt that that would be the right path for us. And I really appreciate the help that we got from the Beacon team and the SolidWorks team to the way they onboarded us to the startup program. I think that was a big benefit for us to start rolling from day one.
The startup program for DASO and also Beacon is very, very supportive of a startup ecosystem for them to get started, innovate quickly and then turn around things very quickly. So we are celebrating 30 years of SolidWorks. This is 30th year of SolidWorks, and Beacon itself has moved, started as a 3D CAD company. From that we have evolved into so many other things beyond 3D CAD. So let me ask you, Umesh, in your organization, what are all the tools that you use beyond 3D CAD? Not necessarily limited to DASO products, but what are all the other tools that you think are relevant for an industry like yours?
As you said, from the earlier situation where it's only limited to CAD. So that's one vertical, CAD, CAM, analysis, all those things is one vertical. Next is the manufacturing is one vertical. I would like to take it this way. So from data management to sales management to design management, all those is one part of the manufacturing activity is one activity. So these are now it's a connected thing with the PLM and ERP all put together. It's a total connected thing. We have the discussion going on as we speak in our office to move on to SAP or Delmia. So it's very interesting. I could able to convince my stakeholders. The entire thing from the design to manufacturing to our toolpath to our data, everything is there already embedded within SolidWorks. It is only the question of connecting them with the proper data connections. So this way, I would to answer to a specific question. We are having the initial analysis of the when we do the process design, when we do the manufacturing fixtures, tooling, gauges, and all those simulations we are doing in SolidWorks. And we are also moving on to, earlier we used to produce a lot of documents for shop floor people from the CAD engineering department to the manufacturing. A lot of clinical work used to go. How are we going to do that? Now we are working on a system where the exact files, what the process engineer has done the same files as a viewer. It will be flowed down to the shop floor, no meddling in between, no preparation in between. They will be using exactly the same data. That's what we are working. That's one area I feel is going to be very interesting. It's already halfway through. And yeah, coming to this one, we are into my actual, apart from CAD, it is manufacturing. We are doing complete tool path generation, simulation, all those things are being done. And next is the assembly documentation, assembly simulation. So now it is, you are entering into full ERP. That's it.
So as a follow-up question, you are in the aerospace industry, which is like you need very high level of traceability and accountability for parts that you supply for many years, right? So how do you do that today, and how do you see that evolving with all the digital continuity that we are talking about, with all the connected systems?
I would say earlier we used to say that a process which cannot be measured cannot be managed. You want to manage a process, you need to measure it. So now it has to be extended now. Process is my view, a process which cannot be measured and digitally documented cannot be managed further. So with this pretext, I will show you, share one interesting thing. Sometime last year we had an audit from the Boeing Federal Aviation team because of the failures of the recent 787 and single-age programs. A team of 8 people, they came to all the factories, audited for 7 days almost, and the requirement is the managers, the top management, middle management or the supervisor level are not entertained in the audit. It's only the shop floor people who does the actual work. Every area is checked because incidentally we were supplying the same assemblies where the fault was found. It is the stabilizer assemblies. So we do major assembly structures for that one. So the audit was, it went on. But at the end, because the data was available, traceability was available, it was as a practice, not prepared for them. From the day one, all the data was available. 0 observations, 0 comments. So I cannot emphasize the importance of going digital. It's very important. Like that today, if you say, I used to, as a distress management, if a lot of meetings goes on in an organization from the customer within everything. Today I heard, I was reading an article where the AI sits on top of that, hears to everything, and it escalates exactly. The voice of the people will be heard. Generally what he speaks, today what he spoke, what voice, including that one, the AI is penetrating. So I think it's digitalization is so important. It's going to take everything. It covers everything. There's nothing that can be left out.
Yeah, totally agree. For everyone, the attendees here, it's very important to look at the digitizing your data. Everything that you do should be in a digital form. And only then you can apply all the latest tools and all of that. So, Mathew, from your association also, beyond 3D CAD, what are the, you're also in a valve industry, which is also critical in many places. So how do you guarantee traceability and accountability to your customers and their customers' customers?
Yeah. So valve, as you know, is a pressure containing component. So it's very critical in certain industries. So we need to maintain the ISO process, both in technology as well as manufacturing. So PDM, SolidWorks comes out in the technology side. So again, PDM is the main factor there. The workflow is the main, the forced workflow you can enforce a workflow in PDM, which will make sure that certain people create it, and the person who checks it and approves it, and you can even make it role-based, right? You can make it based on a level of seniority, you can make the approvals, define the approvals, so it's kind of forced workflow. So that's the critical thing. Even any ISO auditor comes, we open up PDM, show the workflow, half of the problem is solved. So they feel confident that the system is in place, then they just ask to show a few examples, we show that, and the process is very clean. From engineer up to managers, the roles are clearly defined in the system. That's what is critical for this traceability from a technology point of view. Manufacturing is more complicated. That is, again, the drawing access, everything is still direct from PDM. We don't take it outside PDM at all. The entire manufacturing accesses all the documents from PDM. So there's no confusion of wrong revision level reaching manufacturing. So once you get some of these basic things in place, the traceability or from an ISO audit perspective, it's very easy.
Yeah, so you mentioned that you have put a layer on top of PDM, right? So is that a web application or is it what kind of technology?
So we created something in Visual Studio, very simple. It's Visual Basic. It's like typing in English. If you know Visual Basic, it doesn't even have the complicated syntax of C#. C# itself is easy, but I'm telling Visual Basic is even easier. So the entire team working on these projects are all mechanical engineers, no programming background. Our strength is we know what we need, what needs to be automated, right? The tools doesn't stand in our way. It's easy. Once you know what to do, these tools are easy, you can create them. These are desktop applications because it's purely within the organization. It's very simple. Web is more suitable, I feel, for when you go outside the organization. Within the organization, these desktop applications are very powerful. So we go by that, and as I mentioned, some of these change orders, the engineering change orders, these are circulated using this layer that we built on top of PDM. Right? So again, we define all the departments in the system. They get a notification email. They can acknowledge that change within that same system. So it's all happening within that same system. And it keeps a history of all of this. So design and operations are tightly knitted together with this system.
Fantastic. That's what a little bit of technology can do to a large organization like Bray Controls. So Ugandhar, your challenges would be different because you being a startup, even though collaboration and all of that you're talking about is one of the key things. And the products that you produce are, they always run at 70,000 RPM. That's what you mentioned. So when you are designing such kind of components, your challenges go far beyond 3D CAD. So how do you address them, and what kind of solutions that you have in place within your organization?
Right, so as I mentioned earlier, we are slightly in an early stage of design. So some of our concerns include how do we optimize these components. So as I was mentioning earlier, the system is supposed to be rotating at very high speeds. So tolerances, that are needed for some of the components that we plan to manufacture, they are very critical. And there is a lot of sensitivity associated with some of these component designs. So a small, 50 micron difference on the surface somewhere or on a chamfer somewhere can make a big difference to the life of the system. So at this point of time, we are more focused on optimizing our systems. But as we move forward, so this is a challenge that we are facing now. When we make a component and we go to vendors to either 3D print them or manufacture them, we realize that the ecosystem is also evolving and they tend to start learning along with us. So we have to work with the vendors most of the time because the thing that I often hear from them is that this is the first time somebody has asked them to do this. Right? So, but we know, and specifically if you are from the gas turbine industry, you would know that with these systems, managing the clearances, managing tolerances is very critical as far as efficiency and life are concerned. a small error in the very beginning can actually reduce the life of the system from, let's say, anywhere from 40,000 to 50,000 hours of operation to barely 2,000 hours of operation. So we are kind of paying a lot of attention to these details as we move forward. And we are also trying to explore if we can do some of these optimization studies within the SolidWorks framework. Right? We just build CAD models right now, and we take these CAD models into other softwares for doing simulation. I think I had been having some fruitful discussion with your team to see how some of those analysis can be done within the software so that the design cycle can be accelerated.
Great. So as we are talking about 30 years of SolidWorks, the community, there is a large set of users and technology partners like Beacon, and a community of users are all around the globe. It's not only users but also partner products. There are other solutions which are not top of SolidWorks. So how let me start ask you, Mathew, this question. How has it helped you in your business, having been part of a large community and a partner community?
Yeah, definitely. Because sometimes you need that community to see the best practices. You would have other industries where certain things are done in a better way. We are all connected, our teams are connected, people know what's happening in the other industry. So that helps a lot, especially on the API side. That's where I'm coming back to again. I think 3D modeling or drawing creation is straightforward. You do not need much help from outside, but when you get into programming for mechanical engineers, that's where you need help. You are not an IT person, you are not trained in programming. These kind of ecosystem really helps. I think the SolidWorks community itself, starting from the help file, it's very detailed. It has examples, and if you have to do further, you post a question in the discussion forum. Someone's going to answer those questions. That's where the community helps. You go anything beyond the standard way of working. You want to do more. There's always someone who has tried out and sitting in some part of the world. They have to help you. So that makes a big difference.
Yep. What about you, Umesh?
Being in an ecosystem definitely has got the biggest advantage. I'll tell you one. We had a recent discussion with one of the Airbus senior design experts. They were here to explore how is the manufacturing ecosystem in India developing. We used to work with, even now we work with some of the drawings which are 1964. 75, those guys. So that's what's happening, why every industry is evolving, why you people are not coming with a new product. When automobile people can come out with that kind of changes every 6 months, 3 months. Why there is no new aircraft coming up? Why are you flying the same thing again and again? He explained very that the ecosystem, that he spoke about the ecosystem today that they are designing things. Because of the geopolitical pull and push and many other political influences, it has not come on to the production level. Otherwise, the design point of view, earlier it was to take minimum 15 years from the concept to the physically aircraft flying. Today, it's 2.5 years. Because every aspect of the design, or major aspect of the design, everybody will be working on the same platform. The guy who fixes up the fuel tube will be exactly knowing what else is coming in his way. That was not the case earlier. So, being a collaboration is something, collaborative environment is really good, and it's picking up, and in a way we are also a part of it in a manufacturing way, but the field may not be the design. So, yeah, it's very important.
Thank you for the insight. That gives a lot of input. Like I recollect one of the conversations I had when I was in Mathew. It used to take around 7 years to come up with a new motorcycle. After when we looked at looking at SDRs and all, they were able to bring it down to 3 years or so. By that time I moved. I am a mechanical engineer and I like software. So what is your experience on these lines?
Yeah, just to add to what Mr. Umesh said, in my first job, when I started working on an aircraft engine program, it was in 2009, and it came, it reached the commercial application or started flying in 2016. 7 years, more than 600 engineers working across the globe to make it happen. And out of those 7 years, I think pretty much 2 years went up in certification. Because to his point, the reason why it takes longer, because safety is the biggest concern when it comes to aviation. Right? Nobody wants to compromise, and we have too much of redundancies built into the system, which you would not typically do for land bases. So that was my experience, but as my career progressed, I've seen an engine program finished in 2 years. Right? So you cannot overemphasize the use of all these digital tools and all these softwares compared to, let's say, 30-40 years back. Now we are able to accelerate all this design work only because of these tools that are available, because of the interconnectedness. So as I said, we have more than 600 engineers working across the globe. So what's connecting all of them? Right? We are sharing work on a day-to-day basis. And platforms like SOLIDWORKS and other softwares are the biggest enablers. You couldn't have thought of doing any of these things a few years back.
Awesome.
Just to add one point to this, I think earlier the design team used to be the bottleneck in most companies. That has now shifted to manufacturing because design happens very fast. It's the actual development of manufacturing, prototypes, testing, that has become the bottleneck now. It's a good sign that the problem has shifted further down the line. I think more automation and advanced engineering has to be done on the manufacturing side.
So being a manufacturing, do you agree?
I'm having that burden as a he's right. This is a good situation to be.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, to add to what Mathew was saying, some of the tools like Drytos, which is a configurable tool with which you can create designs like this. You really don't have to create a 3D model from scratch all the time. So we have customers who are using designing excavators using the Drytos tool where they can generate designs very quickly. So changing the tracks a little bit. We talk so much about AI today in the same morning, right? I know I've spoken to you, Mathew, so I'm picking you first because I know that you have some initiative running within your organization on adoption of AI. So can you share your thoughts on given your all this stuff that's happening in AI? What do you see as the impact that it's going to have on your business? What steps that you think that you should be taking to adapt and then improve upon?
Yeah, AI is inevitable, no doubt. I think everyone in the room at some point of time would have definitely taken some steps to embrace this. So what we have started with is on the technical documentation side, we have a lot of brochures, literature. We have converted all of that into AI, right? So no one has to, if you don't need some information about the product, you don't have to go searching for a document and search the content inside the document. So that part is now simplified. You have a chat bot where you post a question, it searches all the documents, gets the right answer. Probably that's the simplest option. Now the next step would be to expand that to the core engineering, the actual design process. Now it looks like SolidWorks also is getting into automated drawing creation. So whatever is specific to our industry or our product, we'll have to do our part. SolidWorks AI part is getting done. We have to do our part, combine both of it and pretty much automate everything. I think without AI, many businesses won't survive because you won't get the talent anymore. Earlier, people used to get people, engineers who are interested in 3D modeling, drawing creation. You're not going to get it in future. Unless it's automated, you're not going to get good engineers to do designs.
So I'm sure there are many changes here. how many of the Gen Zs, all of any of you, how many of you guys want to do 3D modeling? No one.
Yeah.
That validates what you're.
That was our dream of one point of time when we started our career.
That validates your.
People sometimes get scared of AI, telling AI will take the jobs. But anyway, no one's ready to do the job. AI has to
So, in fact, in the morning I did talk about how you can use AI to leverage all your past data, which is exactly the use case that you talked about. How you can wake up all the data that is sleeping in your computers using AI. It doesn't require rocket science. And AI if SolidWorks is doing something in AI, it can solve some part of the problem. But as an organization, you would have to look at your use cases and this is how AI is going to play a role in that.
The
Yes.
business data is what is the
Yeah. So, Umesh, you had some significant ideas as well on AI. So, how do you anticipate that to play in your space in the aerospace and manufacturing industry?
I would like to give you one. Recently, I was watching one of the clips, where in China, a series of kiosks were lined up, and people come over there. They attach some of the sensors, basic sensors to their hands, and stand in front of that, and it reads the face, it reads the eyes, it gets the basic data. You can also upload your medical background, your all the insurance details, all those things. It takes everything in a comprehensive way and prescribes exactly. It throws out the prescription for the people without having anybody in front of them, and it's very accurate. So, an AI can. We are only telling AI is just beginning. So, in the beginning, this can happen. So what can happen in the coming days is something very alarming, and we all. I think our generation is very lucky to witness this kind of inflection again and again. So digital transformation it started from Y2K, from to AI. It's a beautiful transition. In our case, coming to my particular, a lot of our ecosystem, as far as material is concerned, raw material is concerned, it comes from various sources. There's a lot of traceability requirement. Every washer we supply, after 30 years, I should be exactly able to tell on who did it, when it was done, from which mill it has procured, what is the hardness value, what is the heat rod number. Everything has to be. If it cannot be supplied in 30 minutes, it is taken for granted, data is not there. It's a non-compliance. So, we are working on how are we going to manage this variation using a layer of AI on top of that. We have an agency is working on that one, which will find out the trends in all these things and comes out with how do we optimize these things. So, there's an ambitious project going on. Definitely is going to be quite a focus.
I mean, we definitely want to have a conversation because we are also trying our hands on building some AI models and our own technology that we are looking at building our own things. We'll definitely have a conversation on that. Now that you're having initiatives and running in your organization. So for a startup like yours, and what kind of a role do you expect AI to play?
Well, I think since you said Gen Z and some folks in my age, but we were all hoping that by now we would have something like Jarvis what Iron Man had in the earlier. Looks like we are a little bit lagging behind on that. So I think once people have seen that, nobody wants to really do conventional CAD drawings as Sir was pointing out. One of the challenges that we see right now is with the conventional way of doing design. Our thinking is all very linear, right? We make a model, we think we'll do some parametric study, build some DOI, do some analysis, and come back. In fact, I think in current age, that's to some extent, I know it's the backbone of many industries, but I feel like it's slowly getting outdated. In fact, in space and aerospace industry, there are a couple of companies which are focusing on what we call as computational engineering, right? You don't actually start thinking about nuts and bolts. You basically build a model that can throw out the design or multitudes of design with all the constraints that you are doing. And some companies have actually demonstrated that, specifically in trying to build some complex rocket nozzles and thrust chambers and this. And I found that very fascinating. So it looks like we're at the cusp of that transition. Though I think there's a little bit of catch-up. Maybe next time when you have the innovation day, maybe we'll have some system like that.
Yeah. So, Mathew, I have a follow-up question on you. So you have implemented PDM extensively and all of that. Do you have any plans to have your AI engine work on the PDM data as well?
Yeah, not exactly on PDM, but on automating the assembly and drawing creation. That's what we want. PDM will feed the data into it. But yeah, that's where we take time, especially the drawings which we send to customers. Those are, we call them general assembly drawings. Those are quite a very short point. We do it faster, get orders faster. Right? So that's where we want to automate. That's one key thing. And also the field service side of things. Right now, we record everything. Any valve that fails at site, we record the whole information, but there's no intelligence behind it. Right? If you have AI, I think you can really predict. Based on data itself, you can be able to predict what can go wrong. Right?
Yeah, I was about to ask you a question whether AI is going to take people's job. Morning message was it's not going to take people's job. But you have answered that already. AI is not going to take people's jobs, stressing it again, but it's going to enable every engineers to perform their job better. And anyone who don't adapt AI will become obsolete over a period of time, and that's going to happen. So, before we got a few more minutes. So one of the things that I want to ask, starting with Umesh, is that what is the one piece of advice that you would give to an engineer or someone in the early stage of career or who wants to start up in getting into building a business or whatever it is? What is what do you think they should invest their time on technologies and solutions, etc.? What would be your suggestion?
It's a very basic question you're asking. I would like to say, first you should very keenly listen to his own instincts inside. What is that? What pleases him? Which direction pleases him? That's where he has to start. Any layer or anything which or any external suggestion may not be a long-lasting. So first of all, he has to listen to himself first. Once that is clear in his mind, then he has to get into figure it out what are the tools or the additives that he has to equip himself to get into those lines, and just close the eyes and immerse. No shortcuts over there. The basic things you might see. It's only the tools varies.
Yeah. Mathew?
Yeah, I think my suggestion would be to be creative. That's nowadays I think missing. You will have to get more and more creative. As good engineers, you come with fresh ideas. There is always great value to that. Nothing can beat that. And it has to come from the engineers. You can't expect the management to tell ideas to the engineers. It happens, but it can't beat the ideas coming from the engineers. They have hands-on experience. The ideas come from the engineers. That goes to a different level. Right? So be creative and then listen to the customers. You get close to the customers directly. Listen to the voice of the customer. That's where you get ideas so that you can make sure you're putting your energy on the right projects. Otherwise, you'll be creative, but it's not what the customer wants. Right? So you combine these two, you come with very good products.
I would like to add one point to what Mathew said. Of late, I have been observing, it is not the case earlier, but now it's more and more. They come up with good ideas, young engineers, but they expect it to be immediately taken up and implemented or they're too enthusiastic. It cannot happen in an organization like that. Every idea cannot be implemented. My own ideas cannot be implemented many times in my organization. That's how the system works. So please have patience.
Yeah, it's always a funnel, right? You get 100 ideas, only 2 passes through, right?
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks for the pointing out that. Yeah, Ugandhar?
Yeah, I mean, because we are in early stage startup, I had the opportunity of working with a lot of folks. And one thing I usually give them feedback always is, once you have chosen a field, whether it's engineering or anything else, you need to ensure that throughout your education you are focusing on getting your fundamentals right. Because once you pass out of college and you are interviewing for startups or agencies, that's the core thing that everybody is looking for. What is your technical depth? What is your level of understanding of the concepts that you have studied? So I usually say that's the first thing, and the second is your attitude towards work, your work ethics. If you have these two things right, then everything else will fall in place.
Thank you.
I remember another statement Mr. Nainar Ramaswamy made in this same context that whether you like your company or not, whether you like your boss or not, please don't dislike your profession. So as long as you like your profession, many things get signed up.
Thank you. Thank you. Next one is a rapid fire question. You have to answer very, very quickly. What comes to your mind first? Okay? Your relationship with SOLIDWORKS. Love at first sight, love after marriage and getting used to the software.
Second one.
Magic?
Love at first sight.
Love at first sight? Wonder?
Same here.
Same?
At first sight.
We have our Become founder, Reddy was here. For him also it was love at first sight. He keeps on telling that the day he saw the demo of SOLIDWORKS, for 7 days he couldn't sleep, that he couldn't imagine that a 3D modeling can be done on a computer with such a very, very low levels of memory and all of that. Because at that time it used to be running on Unix boxes. Big Unix boxes to do the job. So, you want to see some professional. So, design is more important than marketing. Agree or disagree?
No.
You disagree?
I have seen many substandard products also. So we go for marketing is important.
Very nice. Mathew?
Third option, equally important.
No, only two.
And design is more important.
Design is more important.
I would say design is more important.
Because we have a similar panel discussion in Pune, right? One of them is an entrepreneur, the other one is from a large corporation. Everybody said design is the important thing. The first one to say marketing is important.
No,
Which
sometimes,
is true.
just to add a point to that, if the design is very good, the customers themselves will do the marketing. I've seen that happen.
We should have panel discussion between you two separately. You do that one on Tuesday. So, all of you deal with mechanical, electrical components and all of that in your work. So, which is harder, mechanical design or electrical design?
We have to pass this. I'm not a designer.
I'm a mechanical engineer, I find mechanical engineering easy.
Yeah, I don't think there is a straight answer because our system needs both of them. It won't work without either.
Which one is harder? That is interesting.
I think they're equally important at this point of time. It's like the brain versus the heart kind of issue.
So, simulation or physical testing, where do you place your trust?
I would like to place in simulation.
Simulation.
Why is so many things other than the practical which can happen in the future also you can put into simulation. Practically, what do you simulation?
I think our Anjan Sarkar is very, very happy to hear this. He looks after simulation business for Beacon. Mathew?
Yeah, our industry, physical testing.
Physical testing.
Right away. Customers also won't accept the simulation results.
But we do some sample testing, right? We don't test everything.
We do a lot of simulation. We are preparing the data for, we do physical simulation and physical testing and simulation, compare the results. But we have still, till now, we have not been able to arrive on a pattern to find differences all the time. So we still, before launching a product, definitely we need to have some physical testing. But
I would like to say it's a to and fro. Do the design, check it, do the design, then simulate.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So during design stage, a lot of simulations, but before we launch it, we definitely need the physical testing. We can't bypass that as of now. But maybe it will evolve better in the coming years. We are hoping for that. Yeah, save a lot of time, a lot of cost.
Yeah, for us, physical testing is the ultimate tool. But in my experience, I've seen that, especially with FA, for example, some of the tests that they had mandated, physical tests, were replaced with simulation. Because some of those simulations had reached that level of immaturity. They said there's no need to do a physical test. So it goes hand in hand, but at this point of time in our journey, I think the physical test is the ultimate tool.
Yes, I think like one of these points that I want to make on this is there are certain things for which simulation is more than enough to take a leap of faith. Because there are mission critical ones where you just cannot take the leap of faith and you have to have some physical testing to be done. So when you are designing, do you design for cost or design for quality? The first priority is not about, what would be your first priority when you are doing the design? What do you consider as the first one? The strategy.
Purpose.
Purpose? Okay.
Everything is built around purpose.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, again, you can't pick both, right? So it's a design for cost.
Yeah, for us right now, quality is paramount, so there's no compromise on that.
So, data management or project management, these two are, even though they are data, but they are a little different. So, for an organization like yours, what should be the first priority?
For us, it's project management.
How long does your projects run? Because you get a project and run it for 2 months, 3 months, like that.
It's far it is ongoing.
Okay. Mathew?
You say data or product or project?
Data management, project management.
Project management.
Project management. Ugandhar?
Yeah, it's project management for us as well. Being a small company, data is not an issue right now for us.
Okay.
At least one of the point before it.
That's like a unanimous vote, project management, right? While your 3-day experience has got a project plan, which is a role which you can leverage to manage your projects on the cloud. So if you have to automate, the choice between bill of materials and automate drawings, what will be your first choice? Bill of materials, automatically generate bill of materials, automatically generate drawings. Which one brings more value to you?
In our case, it is drawings.
Drawings.
So we are not into big asset basis manufacturing. So drawings makes a difference.
For us also drawings.
I think I agree with both of them. It's drawings for us.
Okay. We are getting into unanimous territory. So the final question, final takeaway. For someone who wants to be an entrepreneur, all of you are C-level executives. Someone who wants to be an entrepreneur, right? What would be your suggestion on the investment on the technology, or what would be your suggestion for somebody who wants to be an entrepreneur? If you've got X amount of money, what should they invest on?
I would strongly, I've done it. One should invest on himself first. He has to equip himself in the best possible way, irrespective of all other things. He has to invest on himself.
Yeah, I think regardless of the industry, it's somewhat connected to what he told us, investing in people. That even our CEO, if you listen to him, that's what he says first. Bray, invest in people. I think that makes a big difference. I think the technology doesn't matter. If people are good, it's a success.
Yeah, I would say having a clear vision is very important. If you have that long-term vision, it's easy to start building in steps. So I think that's what I would try to recommend to anybody who is trying to get into building a startup.
Okay. So We can take a couple of questions from the audience. So if anyone has got a question, can.
Right now we are also going into the AI. I also feel, I'm a mechanical engineer, that we get the scent of oil, at least that's what I feel. But the problem what we are seeing right now in this is, no company is going to share their own proprietary data. So AI can just hallucinate or rotate in between that data. It cannot be generalized. That's what we are seeing. So how AI can help in making more democratized in design. Because no proprietary data, I think you are working for two companies. I don't think even their first data can be shared going on. Do anything other than, passing on their own.
Forget data, they don't want to see each other.
Exactly. So exactly, in that case, how we are saying about AI, how it will help in the future.
In my view, as we go deeper, AI will be built on their own ecosystems. That's where everybody is working on. Even they are also proprietary, whatever the tools they build on top of that. So definitely it's going to be, except the general ones, maybe a legal advisor or a medical advisor kind of thing. Core technical AI, whatever they are building, is going to be within their environment.
Can I add to what Umesh was saying? It depends on how, AI depends on data. Hallucination happens because you don't have the right kind of data to cover the use cases. So some of the customers of ours, who got 20 years of data. So if you are able to build an AI engine which uses the right kind of technology, you can reduce the hallucination to a large extent. But it requires effort, fine-tuning the mechanism with which they chunk the data and build the RAG model. It depends to a large extent on that. We can take one more question. Yes.
To adopt AI and green products in future for sustainability, lot of new materials and processes have to be developed. How it can be, because the technology is continuously changing and rapidly galloping further, how to catch up with that to develop green products plus adaptation of AI from the present? Is there a way to reduce that time?
If I may. So, since you pointed out about materials, I think there are few startups which are trying to use AI to develop new materials. Like if you see some of these special alloys that get used in aviation industry, most of that is proprietary information. But let's say you are trying to build a new alloy, how do you do it, right? You can't keep doing trial and error and physical testing because some of them require long hours and months of accelerated testing. So I know there are a few startups which are already focusing in that area where they build these models that can predict the properties of materials if you fill in certain composition and other details. So they can see the performance of those combinations upfront and then decide which is the right material that should be made for a certain application. So we are already seeing some of that happening in industry at this point of time. So I think in India itself we have like 2 or 3 startups which are focusing on those areas right now. So you are seeing more and more adoption of AI in some of those sectors already.
Okay. This is final question. We have to continue with the session.
My question is that now everybody is saying about the AI. See, like when we go back for 30-40 years back, the engineers and the environment where we used to work will be having a fundamental knowledge of science. As we move on, what is happening, we got into a slavery kind with a lot of tools like Excel, and all, while using AI also. If we get into the just giving like some sort of question and then we throw sorts of solution, how do we validate? Is there any infant mortality in AI where we can just cannot blindly trust? There should be a factor of safety. Otherwise, whatever designs that we may do, you will have a problem with the customer. So this is my question.
I think if you're asking can we blindly go by AI, definitely no. There should be a human brain behind the AI or validating what comes out of AI. That's what I feel. But I can hope that, but people will be forced to go fully by AI. That's the risk that we have.
Wherever the risk is not there, they are using AI like what we saw, generating a drawing which is a mundane this thing that will give a productivity. That's good. But wherever my simulation analysis, where factor of safety is involved, there probably there is a human intervention or a knowledge is required to judge what is the AI, whatever AI is throwing the research.
So one point I would make on that, right? In the morning session, I talked about industry knowledge, which is all your standards, your design standards, and all of that. If you have to make a choice of material, you wouldn't have to go through like volumes and volumes of reams and reams of documents. You can ask AI, I want to have like a soundproof glass for a sound level of more than 80 decibel, 100 decibel, whatever be the case. And then it can tell you these are all the materials that can potentially match your criteria. You can ask more questions saying that can you tell me the most cost effective one? It can tell you that. So those are all the areas where it can potentially help. If you rely totally on AI to do your design, it is going to cause more problems than actually solving them. There has to be some amount of manual intervention. I tend to disagree a little bit with what Mathew was saying, but that is essentially the way we see that. Now, that's the last question. We are pretty much running behind it. Thank you so much for the question. So, with that, I hope the session was very insightful, rather than one-way conversation that we have been hearing since morning. And I want to take this opportunity to thank all the panel members for taking time from your busy schedule to come down and then share your thoughts on these areas, which could be very, very useful for all the attendees. Thank you, Umesh. Thank you, Mathew. Thank you, everybody.
Well, that was a very interesting panel discussion, everybody. So right now we have a small token of appreciation for our distinguished panelists. Yes. I request Nainar to kindly present the token of appreciation for Mr. Umesh, co-founder and old-time director, CIM Tools. With the biggest round of applause, let's thank all our panelists for sharing their strong vision and powerful insights. We have Mr. Umesh, co-founder and old-time director, CIM Tools, Mr. Mathew Varghese, Vice President of Engineering, Bray Controls India, and Mr. Ugandhar Reddy, co-founder and CTO. Thank you so very much. And Nainar sir, thank you so very much. You have brilliantly moderated the session. So once again, the biggest round of applause, everybody. Thank you so very much. So our panelists have beautifully explained about how data, AI, technology and innovation will shape the industries and also power the future of India, everybody.